the climate was different, and it definitely could be a political move. I don't know what Greitens is doing. I mean, not Greitens, Parsons is doing. I haven't had any conversation with him. I didn't get any conversation back when I asked for support. So, and that's just being real. I don't lie. I'm not keeping it 1,000. I have nothing against Governor Parsons at all. But if this is a political move, we're going to find out, because it's either work finna get done or you finna see a bunch of individuals doing a bunch of stuff that is unorganized, and you will be voted out for it, or to some degree, you're going to have people on your neck. You might not get voted out because it's a Republican state. That's probably not going to happen. But at the end of the day, you will have a bunch of people pissed off at you. You will have a lot of people angry at you, and maybe we go out there and protest at the Capitol. I'm not sure what the action will be, but I guarantee you, if it turns out to be something that it shouldn't be, you'll have a whole lot of protesters pissed, right? The climate is right. It is right. Do not do anything wrong against these people. If your intent is pure, help us. It's as simple as that. Do not make this political. This is not about politics. We just straight up need some help.
Do you also think that had he responded to your request, that we would be where we're at now?
I think had the request been responded to this far, that'd totally be a different atmosphere in the city of St. Louis, just based on that atmospheric pressure. Everything is about pressure. You got on a mask right now, you got on a mask, I don't, I should have one on, but either way, everybody in America is wearing masks in less than, 6 months? This happened just like that. That's atmospheric pressure. Why? Because the entire world looks at you differently when you don't have this on. The entire world has said you need to do this, you need to do that. Atmospheric pressure is very, very important. And when you change something immediately in the atmosphere, people wake up differently than they did yesterday, knowing they have to take an extra step to survive, an extra step to live. If you put atmospheric pressure down in any place, any living entities will have to adjust and evolve with that pressure to survive. And that's what would have happened had we put pressure last year down. We'd be feeling the relief from that pressure right now. It would have took some time, but you'd definitely be able to feel the relief from it, because atmospheric pressure changes the individuals who live in those pressurized zones. It's just straight up the natural order of things. In no way with the amount of pressure, and it's all contingent upon how they did it too. You know, if they came in and things were not as pressurized as I'm talking, or, you know, people are just kind of lollygagging around and not doing anything, of course, you wouldn't see any type of movement at all. But the amount of pressure that they're talking about putting on, you know, the shooters or this and that, you have a lot of people now talking about it. So hopefully that's enough atmospheric pressure for at least those individuals to wake up tomorrow and look around and see before they shoot, think before they shoot. Maybe drive around the block 3 or 4 more times to make sure they got a clean getaway, opposed to just walking up doing what it is that they do. I think that the governor made decisions based on what he felt at the time would be supported, and that's just the truth. We didn't have support from anybody when I, you know, asked for help, which is understood, man. Historically, the National Guard and anybody else, they come in and they tear everything up. Nobody has ever been for black people in this system. It has never worked for us. It was built on our backs. So naturally, you'll have a lot of people pissed off at that ask, and I was not mad about people being mad. Like, I get it. I'm mad too, but I have enough galls to say, while we are angry, and you can be mad at me, let's at least try to do something about this problem, you know. And if it ends up falling on my neck, then I have to take the butt end of that and be like, man, I was completely wrong, and whatever happens because of that, then I have to step up as a man and just deal with that consequence. But, you know, not doing anything at all has already shown us we got 200 consequences every single year, you know, and thousands of unintended consequences.
Do you also think Prosecutor Kim Gardner, do you think she's tough enough? Yes, it starts, you talked about it a little bit, about it starts with police, but if people see that people are getting convicted and getting sentenced for crimes that they did, that was proven that they committed, what's your stance on that? Well,
so I think that's a pretty easily answered question, right? If you look at right before Kim Gardner got in office, right she got in 2016. 2015 and 14, we had 2 years where the homicide rate was 188 steady. You had 188, 15, 188, 14. Right before that, in 13 and 12, we had an uptick by 29 homicides one year and like another 22 the next year. I mean, immediately, 2 years in a row, you had an uptick by 22, then the very next year by 29. So when you think about those statistics and you look back and you see how many cases she issued, which were kind of coincide with what exactly Kim Gardner issues, right? And if you look at the type of shooters that we had, the age brackets, same ages that we have right now, You look at the homicide victims around the same ages that we have right now. If you look at those those numbers, and you go back 10 years from now, everybody that was 30 will be 20. Everybody that's 20 will be 10, right? Everybody that's 5 would be like 0. I mean, everybody's 5. I'm sorry. Everybody that's 5 would be 15. Everybody that is, that is 30 right now would have been 20. And everybody that is 20 right now would have been 10. So if you look at those numbers just 10 years from now, and you see how things have progressed for the last 10 years, from 2009 all the way up to 2020, the numbers are almost like the same. Now, I don't mean the same in the way where you have 150 and you have 200, but the same in the way that things go up and down, and our numbers go up 17, down 17, up 10, down 15. Up 10, down 10, and up 15, then down 7. Those numbers are going up and down in a way where it shows that there's a pattern in our culture. So regardless of what Kim Gardner does and how much she persecutes, if the numbers were going up before she got here and that person was supposed to have been said to persecute the same way or the same amount, it shows that the culture itself hasn't changed in these last 10 years. And regardless of how many people you lock up, if you're not keeping people from making these behavioral things exist, if you're not keeping individuals from shooting, if you're not keeping people from committing crimes, this is the same thing that we're going to get 5 and 10 years from now. You just have somebody with a good conviction rate. Kim Gardner is doing what she can to try to get generational breaks in these individuals who have generational histories of being involved in criminal activity. That's one thing that we don't talk about within the city. When you really look at the numbers, a lot of people have generations they have histories of family members getting locked up for murder, homicide, drug abuse, drug use. When you see those things and I can look at a record and see your father was here, then you try to give that person another chance and maybe some resources to do something different if they ain't done nothing so heinous to the point where you got to go to jail forever. You need to be locked up. But I think regardless of whether or not you can lock up every single shooter, every single one, if we're not ensuring that somebody doesn't grow up in that person's place, and we're not ensuring that the actual reasons why people are taking shots at each other is being eliminated, then she'll be doing what her job is, to persecute. Her job is to not go out there and prevent you from shooting somebody. But while she's in that office, what she can do is ensure that those individuals who have generational family members who end up incarcerated, they can take a personal interest and find out what it is she can do to stop that generational thing from happening to an individual who is young enough to make a change. Some people are way too far gone. You 40 years old, you shooting somebody, you going to jail. I guarantee you Kim is going to lock you up. But maybe if you're 16 or 17 and there's something in you that she sees that maybe can make a change in your life, then I think it's important for us to make certain decisions based on individual behaviors and how individuals see themselves 5 and 10 years from now and what it is that they're willing to take the back seat on. If you can actually take the back seat when you do something to say, I was wrong, I messed up, I was tripping, this is why I had a bad day, I was hungry, that was the dumbest thing I ever did, I'd never do it again. Yeah, but you are gonna go to jail for it. We could put you in there for 30 years, we'll do 5 and see how it works, right? Those things help individuals who may have been like that and had a kid before he got locked up, have that ability to go back out there and teach his child something before his child grows up and ends up the same place where his father is, because he has that lack of teaching that his father has kind of gained being incarcerated or gained going through life in general, making those mistakes that he does not want his son to make. And we all have the ability to see those things when you are at that very, very place where you decide people's fate for the rest of their lives. And at that very spot, sometimes people are willing to change everything or not willing to change everything. And that's why the judge has the ability to say, even with all the evidence, I'll have mercy on you. I see that you feel bothered by the crimes that you've committed. I was going to give you the chair. I could within, I was going to, give you the death penalty, but I could, but based on, your morality, who you are, I see that things are difficult for you, and that's why lawyers try to make a case on people's lives and things like that, because everything that you do and who you are has something to do with how you've grown up and the experiences that you have. And when you have younger individuals right now who we see in our city as a pattern are the shooters, you have to have people that are compassionate enough that understand that not every shooter is actually a shooter. Some people are just straight up dumb decision makers. I mean, just straight, and that decision, it doesn't take away your actions. If you gotta go to jail, you gotta go to jail. But for some individuals, some that can be rehabilitated, some that can actually have a different pathway because they know this was a realistic mistake and they don't have that hatred in their heart to whereas everybody else's fault but mine, they may be individuals that we need to take, you know, not the high road on, but take interest in and ensuring that we don't have a generational problem with that bloodline. And that's why I think Kim serves that purpose in just that particular realm, aside from that prosecution point. But I think no matter how many people you prosecute, if the community's not stepping up, telling on people, if we're not stepping up saying, that's a person who I saw shoot at such and such, he was driving this car, this was going on, that was going on, we're gonna have these same issues. Her job is to do it after the fact. The police's job is to pull up after you get shot, after you see a drug deal, after you see something going on and somebody has broken the law. If you call the police today and say, it looks like they finna fight, they'll ask you what this person has on, this and that, and then they'll get there after one other altercation has already ensued. If there's a fight actively going on and one getting ready to start, the police are going to the one that's actively going on, not the one that may erupt. So they are emergency response services. They respond to emergencies. You call 911 in the midst of an emergency. It is the community's job to ensure that emergencies do not exist, and that's why you ask community members to call 911 when you see something that is an emergency. You know, the police don't call 911 before they get there. They're not there on the scene. They're to respond. And if we're not being preventative on the community side, then we'll always have these responses and asking ourselves, what can we do to be preventative? The preventative things comes from us. Kim Gardner is a responder. She responds to the act of crime or the violent thing that you have done or any law that you have broken. We have to ensure that we prevent you from getting to her office.
Perfect. Anything else you want to add to that?
The biggest thing is, if you have a plan, and that plan is to hit the root cause of poverty, the question that I ask you is, while we do those things, what are we going to do to ensure we don't get our heads blown off? It's straight up as simple as that. It don't get no simpler than we are trying to survive while we improve. But while we improve, we have to survive or there will be no improvements. This is just an effort to survive while we try to improve. Nobody is here to throw every black person they can in jail. This is 50 officers, y'all. 50. It's 300,000 people in the city of St. Louis. You got over 150,000 of them that are black. We got 50 officers coming here. So you have over 150,000 more of us. Excuse me, man. You gotta really, really look at those numbers, y'all. Jesus Christ. This is not rocket science. It's just straight up numbers. It's 50 people, just 50. So with that being said, if you're not a shooter, if you're not somebody that's out here looking at going to go air somebody out next week and shoot the whole block up with it, then you don't have nothing to be afraid of or worried about. I would ask that if anything, while we have these people here, let's figure out what it takes to get a whole lot of people out and into their hands, period, point blank. Because if I know of somebody who shot somebody, I am telling. I promise you, I'm telling on you. I'm not a snitch because I'm not out here shooting nobody with you. Let's make sure we understand the difference between snitching and telling. If I go out here and sit in the car with somebody and we finna go rob a store and I get caught, or if I'm sitting with somebody and he shoots somebody and I was like, hey man, we finna go out here and go pop this dude, and I get caught and then be like, hey, he actually did the shooting, that's snitching. I intended on doing something with you, and when I got caught and it got bad for me, I told on you so it could be bad for you too. Man, that is snitching. But if you see somebody driving down the street shooting at somebody and you be like, oh, that's a red car. Oh, dang, that's John. Oh, that's Julian. Hey, man, I seen Julian shooting somebody. That's such and such mama. Dang, man. That's not snitching. That's flat out Julian was tripping. I'm telling. I don't have nothing to do with that situation. And he shot somebody, and you should say something about it. Those things are the things that we should be doing in our communities if we want to see some realistic change. That is not snitching. You know, snitching would be going to go buy some marijuana from the weed man and then going to go tell the police on them because you didn't have enough in the bag or you had seeds in your bag. Like, that's snitching, right? That is not telling on somebody. Telling on somebody is you seeing something you have no involvement with, knowing that something is not right. Or you do have involvement with and knowing something is not right and saying, I'm not getting into that and I'm going to tell if you do it. It's as simple as that. Tell your friends, hey man, don't go shoot that person. You gonna shoot a baby? You have to do something about your situation. You have to tell, we all know the shooters are. We all know who our friends are. We all know those individuals that are off their rocker in our communities. Like, oh man, that boy crazy. It's all cool until we get to doing crazy stuff. But you can be that individual who calms us down, calms them down, so we don't have situations where we talking about bringing in 50 task force officers or trying to bring in that entity or this entity. We are our own checks and balances in our community. And when we don't balance ourselves out, somebody have to come check us. And that is what's happening right now. Somebody's being sent in to check us because we do not have balance. We don't have balance because we haven't created it. You can't ask for individuals to go to jail and not be willing to tell on them. You can't ask for people to stop shooting and not be willing to tell who's doing the shooting. It's impossible. And if we're not telling, who's going to do it? It has to be an outside force. It's as simple as that. They are here to do the telling. They are here to make sure that whatever it is that you won't say or you won't do, because ain't none of us running out the neighborhood with our big guns when we see somebody that shot up such. And I've never seen or heard of one block in the city of St. Louis that came together, and when one shooter came, they all put their guns out the window and lit the car, went back in our house and went to sleep. Never heard of it. I don't know if it happened back in the day, but it's realistic. We are not protecting our own blocks. We are asking the police to come protect the blocks when something occurs. We're not out there protecting our city. The police are. And the police are telling you that they cannot do the job adequately right now because of the climate, because of the atmosphere. They can do the best that they can, but they need help. And these task force can do the best that they can. They're not going to get rid of all of this because they can't. We are the ones that have the ability to get rid of all of this. They're going to have to go out here and investigate because they still going to need the police to investigate. They're still going to need regular individuals to tell and testify. And if we're not stepping up to the plate, if nobody's doing anything that was not being done before they got here, then half of the job will be done when they leave. Half of their job, because they still don't have the other half of the resource, which is us. We are the biggest resource in the city. We are the biggest gang in the city of St. Louis, the residents. You are a gang, I am a gang, we are collectively the residents of the city of St. Louis, and collectively, if we wanted to march down the street, we look like one big gang of people. I don't mean we represent a color, but we look like one big gang. And as a gang who are collectively saying we want something done about all of these different things that are keeping us down, I think we need to start ensuring we protect ourselves as a gang. And when individuals are doing something on our block that we don't like, we say we outing him, push him out. Get the gang together and lock arms and lock the doors, do whatever, push him out on the streets, go in the house and let the feds come in and pick his behind up off the, pick him up. Go in the house. If you do not want to be bothered by this, tell on people and go in the house. And I'm keeping it real. Go in the crib. But snitch, man, when I snitch, but tell. Do what you got to do, go in the house for a few weeks. In fact, it'd be nice if everybody in the city of St. Louis knew somebody who was out here shooting, and everybody just start telling today, man, call whatever numbers that you can, call 911, call Jimmy Edwards' office. While we got these federal officers here, let's all put the names out of the people who we know are shooting and go in the house. Let the feds come and pick them up off the streets. And it's straight as simple as that. This is straight up not rocket science. While we got them, let's get rid of a whole bunch of folks. Everybody ain't got to go to jail. They are looking for the shooters. And you who are out here shooting, bro, just like, don't shoot at us. I mean, it's straight up as simple as that. Everybody not trying to die. Everybody ain't out here involving in all the things that everybody is out here shooting at everybody for. Like, a lot of us have nothing to do with it. Just leave us out of it. It's as simple as that. And if you see somebody out here shooting out, those individuals, pull your phone out, man. Take a picture of them when they get past you. Like, don't do it while they actively driving past. I don't want nobody to get hurt. But at bare minimum, let's get some evidence around here. Let's start finding out who these chronic people are who are going how we got people shooting up stuff in the same cars. Now, I personally seen this happen like twice in 2 different days, and it could have been a stolo, however you want to twist it or turn it. I did my due diligence. I made sure I told on who I needed to tell on. But the point that I'm making is we see things that are happening in our communities every single day with the same people who are doing them, and we generally are afraid to say something about it because we know nobody's going to do nothing about it, and these people will be here next week regardless. So I'm not going to say, you need to do something about them so the police can come point at my house, and then you be here for another 2 weeks looking at me, intimidating me. Those things are real. The federal officers are here. And while they are here, if they are really going to be pulling people up off the street, let's get a shooter name out here and see how fast they come pick his ass up. I mean, it's just straight up and simple like that. Those individuals who out on the block hustling, y'all know, like I know, everybody is not out there shooting. Some of y'all hustle just to make the family, just to feed the family. You're not out here killing everybody. It's a lot of OGs out there been selling dope and everything else for a very, very long time and never had to kill nobody or go shoot somebody's whole family up. The point is, those youngins you know out here on one, those people that you know out here tripping, bro, come together and push them off the block. If you got a block that's solid and the police they mess with y'all and somebody just got there and he making it hot on the block, give us them people. Give the police those individuals and maybe, you know, everybody else just I don't know how to put that into perspective because I know how the culture is. You know, that is a form of snitching, but it's for a cause. They're making it hot on the block and they ensuring that people are not eating or however it is that what's going on. If somebody's making it hot where you are, you have opportunity now to get rid of them. You know, tell your grandma to do an anonymous call. But we have to do something in this atmosphere so we can live in a better space in a few months from now. If we don't do something in this particular atmosphere, the next summer will be worse. I promise you. There is no way people that are running around doing what they're doing right now, getting away with it, don't feel like gods. I mean, it's powerful to be able to take a life and not get caught. That's one of the most powerful things that you can have under your belt, aside from individuals, well, not aside, but it's a very, very powerful, it's a powerful feeling. And, you know, I'm not like saying that from experience from individuals who may be thinking something sinister, but I can understand the power of taking a life and not getting caught. And that is happening all around the city. And if we are not empowering ourselves to do something about that and take people off, then you are giving those individuals more psychological power. You're feeding that energy. And they are going to go out and feed other people and have conversations with people saying that I did this, I did that, and got away with it. And then you have more power because you have two individuals who feel like they are untouchable. Touch everybody at this point. Everybody who's out here creating an unsafe environment for us, we need to do something about. This task force is here to help. It's only 50 people, just 50 folks.